Right. Hello all. Now we'll discuss the state of demographic transition, meaning the state of population of India at the time of independence, and also the changes in the patterns of Indian population during the British rule. So we will discuss these aspects under this topic. So the population of India was first collected through a census in 1881. Okay. So prior to that, in 1872, and there were held in a different time periods. So what I mean to say is, from 1881 onwards, the census of India was collected for every 10 years. So prior to 1881, there were census collections, but it was irregular. So from 1881 onwards, there is a regular record of population census for every 10 years. Okay, right. So subsequent to 1921, the second stage of demographic transition started in India. So there was a theory which explains the demographic patterns or the patterns of the population. Okay, so the theory is called demographic transition theory. So under this theory, there are three stages. That means this theory categorize the countries under the three stages with respect to the population based on birth rates and death rates. Okay, so I will discuss this theory in our geographical classes in a brief manner, right? So for time being, the second stage of demographic transition indicates high birth rates and low death rates. So India entered this stage in 1921. Okay, meaning prior to 1921, there were high birth rates and high death rates in India due to epidemics and some communicable and non-communicable diseases. Okay, there were huge death rates. However, after 1921, due to improvements in health facilities, okay, some vaccination programs, etc., the death rates had started declining. Okay, so that's why after 1921, India entered into second stage of demographic transition, meaning the stage is identified by high birth rates and low death rates. Okay, so this led to constant increase in the population of India, right? So because of high birth rates and low death rates, the population increased, especially between 1921 to 1951. Okay, and of course we have seen population explosion after 1951 because of several welfare activities by the government. Okay, so the overall literacy level was less than 16%, and the female literacy rate was around 7% at the time of independence. Okay, so this is about demography, the population, the characteristics of population. So public health facilities were either unavailable or inadequate. Okay, so what are those public health facilities? Water and airborne diseases were rampant because of unavailable and inadequate health facilities. Okay, and life expectancy was at 32 years. At present, the life expectancy was 68 years. So we can say that we have improved a lot in this aspect. And extensive poverty prevailed in India during the colonial period, which contributed to the worsening profile of the Indian population of the time. Okay, yes or no? So if one looks at all the above mentioned aspects, India inherited one of the worst ever colonial legacies. What is the meaning of one of the worst ever colonial legacies? See, Europeans, particularly Britishers, they had occupied almost the entire world. They made entire world as colony, okay, for the development of their country. So among the colonies of the British, India was the worst sufferer. Okay, that's why India inherited one of the worst ever colonial legacies, and after independence, India followed the policy of socialistic pattern of governance. Please try to understand. Okay, the main focus of socialistic pattern of governance was self-reliance and equity. In our previous video, I discussed about trade barriers that were imposed on the exports and imports in order to boost up the domestic industries, as well as the state control over factors of production like land, labor, capital, and organization or entrepreneurship to make India self-reliant. Okay, and the socialism for equitable distribution of goods and services among the people. Okay, so in order to make India to stand on her feet for a quiet period of time, for a long period of time, the then governments had implemented socialistic pattern of economic system. Okay, so because there were no basic good industries in India at the time of independence. Okay, if the Indian economy had been kept in the hands of private players, then there wouldn't have been any capital good industries in India. Yes or no? Because the private players always focus on profits. They don't focus on the welfare of the people. So in order to strengthen the industrial base, in order to ensure the welfare of the people, the then governments had adopted socialistic pattern of society. Okay. However, in 1991, we have switched on to a capitalistic form of economy. Okay, more capitalistic and less socialistic. Prior to 1991, more socialistic and less capitalistic. Okay, so dear students, I hope you have understood the status of various sectors of economy at the time of independence, and also we have seen the discriminatory policies that were introduced by the British to fulfill their self-interest. So in this way, the Britishers had looted the Indian economy. That's why they are called as looters. The forefathers of the present Britishers were known for robbery, were known for war exploitation. Okay, so whatever the development that is visible in the European countries was made by the flesh and blood of the colonial countries in the past. Okay, so that's why if you look at the historical background of European countries, you cannot find any merits in that. Okay, it is all about flesh and blood, all about exploitation and deterioration of economies of other countries. Okay, right. So the next video I will come up with a new topic. So right, thank you very much.